Hello, it's Shadow the Rat, and in this video I thought I would share a few tips that I found on building a good relationship with your rats. So first off, one of the easiest ways to start forming these positive associations with your presence would be to give a treat whenever you go by the cage. Now you can either slip the treat through the wire bars or you can open the cage and give it in person. If you're not comfortable with giving treats through the bars, it's perfectly fine to just open the cage and give it to them. I find that especially giving liquid treats or very valuable treats every time you go by the cage will have the rats quickly learning to jump up and run towards the cage bars whenever someone comes by, and this will become a habit, and later on they're just going to always be happy to see you when you come by the cage. So another thing you want to do is try to handle your rats on a daily basis. Even if you can't take your rats out for free range, or you can't take them out for training or whatever you usually do outside the cage, taking them out for just a few minutes to handle them and assess their condition is going to be a good way to get your rats used to the process of being picked up and being held. And I find that over time this becomes also a very habitual thing, so they get to the point where being picked up is no longer scary or anything like that, and they find it to be a very calming experience. All my girls will go limp when I pick them up, so that is a good indication that your rats have learned to very much like being handled. So another thing you can do is make sure to be the one to physically take your rats out for free range. I know some people will just open the cage doors and let their rats run out and have fun, and this can work if you have tame rats or confident rats, but if you have shy rats that you're working with, it can be really helpful to be the physical barrier between the cage and free range. Free range is a very highly rewarding area for most rats, so by being the one to control it, you are essentially making yourself a very positively associated thing because you are associated with going out to the free range area. So for example, with my girl Cream, I would always use food to get her out of the cage, but then I would be the one who took her to the free range area. She couldn't just run out and go willy-nilly and, have fun on her own. She had to go through me. And then over time, she learned that every single time I came to the cage door, I was most likely going to give her a treat or take her out to the free range area, so I became a very positive thing, and she would greet me at the cage door and ask to come out every time. So another thing you can do is let your rats decide when they want to come out of the cage. So this just basically means that you are going to let your rats actually physically jump onto your hands or into your sleeve or onto your lap or however you get them out of the cage, instead of actually picking them up and physically taking them from their safe spot, which would be their cage. I found that this does wonders with shyer rats, again going back to my Cream and another rat I had called Sonic. These girls were super shy, but by letting them come out on their own, they developed a sense of confidence and trust in me and coming out because they felt like they weren't going to be pulled out of their safe area and that it was very much their decision. And over time, they really built up the confidence to just jump right out of the cage into my arms as soon as I opened the door. So you can use food to help get your rats out. I do this all the time. Just use a little food to get them onto my hands so I can take them to the free range area. This is just a very easy way to get them out of the cage, and the great thing about this is that I found that this method of letting your rats decide when they want out of the cage really helps with rats who are territorial, aggressive, or rats who are very shy like my Cream. So for example, my Berry used to bite anything that came into the cage, so I developed a habit of letting her come out on her own and using food to lure her out, and that basically helped to eliminate some of the biting issues I had. And the same thing with Cream, like I was saying, it really helped build her self-confidence by letting her decide to come out. Now once your rats are outside the cage, it can be good to try and engage with them in some way. One of these ways would be trying to play with them, so you can try tickling them, you can try hand wrestling them, you can try having them chase a string, or you can try even playing a game where you throw them onto soft surfaces and let them run around, and just anything that your rats find fun. Keep in mind that not every rat will like every sort of game, so if your rat seems uncomfortable, try something else. Same thing goes for cuddling. Some rats will be very much into cuddling, and in these cases then petting them can be a very bonding experience. Other rats are not so much into it, so don't force it upon your rats. If you really want to try and help your rat develop a love for being pet, or at least a tolerance for it, then just feed them liquid treats or really valuable treats while you're petting them. This is what I did with Cream, and she went from being pretty terrified and disliking being touched to where she is now, where she not only tolerates it, but likes it to some extent. So another thing you can do, of course, is train your rats in their free range area. This is exactly what I do, and I very much enjoy training with my rats every day. They also seem to very much enjoy it, and they will actually come over and beg me to start training because they seem to like learning and they really like having a challenge and things that they have to do in order to get their food instead of getting it just handed to them. And finally, I just want to say that you never want to try punishing or dominating your rat, because these behaviors are not going to be interpreted by your rats in these ways, and it's just a very easy way to damage your relationship with your rats, so there's no real reason to do it. Anyway, that's all I have for you today, and I hope this video was helpful. If you would like more tips on rat care and rat trick training, then please visit my website at rattricks.weebly.com, link in the description, and I hope you all have a good day. Bye!